So I wasn't even looking for this article. I was actually looking for some economic news, but there's one highlighted over here I saw, and I thought I would do a quick little episode. But the topic is your first job won't be your dream job, and that's okay. I 1000% agree. I wish more people would say this. I founded a company called Employment Boost that does resume writing, career coaching, college planning, outplacement, performance coaching, everything that has to basically do with your career and for companies building a better workforce. And I tried to take all the things that I learned throughout my career because I came from nothing. I didn't get to go to college. I just had to go out there and grind it out, build a career, save some money, start a company, save some more money, start another company to the point to where I now have over a dozen brands and companies across 5 states. And I took all those little lessons I had to learn, some the hard way, and I tried to trickle that down into my friends and family, people I mentor, and also the clients at Employment Boost when we're helping coach people. And, even when I'm talking to my friends and talking about their kids, that first job out of college, they're like, well, what should that be? And I'm like, well, a lot of times we measure jobs by wage. I always measured a job by what I learned. And the more I learned was I knew I could get more money at the next job. And what you realize is when you think about almost becoming an apprentice and focusing on the skills and developing a craft, something of value, because there's a lot of jack of all trades out there and they never get paid much money. It's the people that specialize in something or get good at something. They get paid a lot of money. The people that don't have to figure it out or think about it. They just know how to do it. I realized when I was starting my career in tech that those were the people that made money, and I got to the point to where I was charging people $150 an hour because I was one of the best people in that particular skill set. So you kind of measure jobs when you're coming out of college of what can I learn? What skills can I develop? A lot of people have not had a lot of jobs before they graduated college, unfortunately. So they spend a couple years learning punctuality, how to be a team player, dealing with coworkers, taking criticism from their boss, learning to, get your work done on time, getting your work done right, dealing with customers. The faster you can get all that stuff figured out, the better employee you become. So look for those jobs that will teach you all those things and where you can start learning a skill. What I say is, if you focus on becoming a great employee that people want to be around, where you add value to the conversation, where you're fun to be around, where you make the work environment fun, and you're really good at what you do, money becomes a byproduct. And I think we kind of got things backwards where we're coming out of college, we just spent $50,000, $100,000. Professors tell us we're worth all this money. And then you get out there and you're like, I'm worth $80,000. And then the people you're interviewing with are like, what? Well, tell me why you're worth $80,000. And this is where things go wrong on those first couple jobs right out of college. And then people kind of bounce around before reality sets in that maybe the real world's not how it's not the way my parents and college said it would be. And I say, instead of wasting 4 or 5 years doing that, just pay attention to this and focus on jobs where you can learn the skills to just be a good employee, a good team player, become a leader, on top of learning the skills and mastering a craft that makes you more valuable to the next employer. I think if people did that, wow, you would have a significantly easier time launching your career. And I think this is part of the issue why you see so many people not launch a career until they're 30, 32 years old. It's the wasted decade, the lost decade, I call it. Let's just hit fast forward and get that knocked out right now. So you've been told your whole life to chase your passion, to chase your dreams, and any job that's not a passion is a waste. I think that's BS. I'm someone that grew up without much money. There were no bad jobs. The jobs that kept our rent paid so we didn't get evicted and put food on the table was a good job. I think that's the mentality you got to have in your 20s. You don't care what the job is. It's not about your passion or about your love. It's what you're learning. What skills are you building? How does this job get me to the next job? Think 3 jobs out. I start here at 22 years old. I want my tenure to be good because, believe it or not, regardless of what social media says, companies care about tenure. Do you spend 2 years somewhere, learn how to become a professional, become a good team player, learn some skills? Now I can get that next job. And that next job, I want to really focus on honing on building more skills. And by the time I get to the 3rd job, by the time I'm 26, 27, 28 years old, that is when I really want to make a leap in salary and compensation, title. That's how you set up something really successful. Unless, and I do recommend this, if you get into a company that's growing fast, don't leave. Who cares if all your friends change job every year? If you're in a company that's growing, don't leave. If you're growing and they're growing, don't leave. I know somebody that got in a place he graduated MSU, went to work for a company. He's 40-something years old now. He's never left. By the time he was 28, into 6 figures. By 35, he's running the whole place. He does whatever the hell he wants. I don't know many 35-year-olds that do that. And I know a handful of other stories where sticking around tends to pay off when you're in the right company. So there's a whole lot of glamour on social media about, leaving, and you get a bunch of likes, but when your career is not where you want it to be at 35, you won't care how many likes you get. Sometimes you get in the wrong company and you just got to move. There's no growth opportunity. You're not going anywhere. Company's not growing. Yeah, it's time to jump. When you stop learning, maybe it's time to jump. You got to play that by ear depending on where you go. But the general thought is stop getting your career advice from LinkedIn, because the funny part is a lot of times people will take that advice, and then when it goes wrong, you can't go back to the person that gave you that advice and say, hey, you really screwed me up here, because that's just how we live on the internet. There's no accountability in that type of stuff. So the general thought is when you come out of college, you're in your 20s, work hard, come in early, stay late, bust your butt, show up on time. Don't be a negative drain. Be a positive person. Raise your hand. Take on more work. Learn as much as you can. Go to the next gig. Use that gig to get the next gig. Do the same thing. And by that 3rd job, you should be crushing it. And what I say is when you focus on those things instead of how much money they're paying you or what title they're giving you right out of college, money will become the byproduct. The money will come. But when you see these people bouncing around trying to chase the money and they don't get it, because you realize they're focused on the wrong things. No one's going to pay you $115,000 if you're not good at anything. No one gets paid $115,000 to keep a chair warm. Tough to tell you that, because I've had people sit in front of me and say their college professor told them they're worth $85,000. They had absolutely no skills. The only thing they could do is recite information from a case study. And if you ever ran a business or did a startup or ever had to sit on a board or had P&L responsibility, never in your right mind would you ever offer someone a job for $115,000 that could only recite a case study. You got to be able to do something. You need some knowledge, you need skills, you need to master a craft. And you can knock out a lot of this stuff in your 20s and really launch a career. So going back to this title over here, your first job won't be your dream job, and that's okay. It is goddamn okay. Find the job where you're going to learn the most. Go soak up the game. Surround yourself with people that are going to make you a better employee that's more knowledgeable, that is a master of their craft, and you will succeed. Anyways, if you have a career topic, business, startup, something you want me to cover, drop me a DM on Instagram at JamesPhillip313 with a link to a story, and I'll try to get you featured. Until then, I'm going to catch you on the next one.